Why not? Hello and welcome everybody to another scene, another episode of Wolf Apocalypse Ridge across New York. This fine day, Jacob has been called or requested to engage in the questioning of a young neighborhood crab person. It is on my screen. And as such, has made his way to the area of containment, where this individual, this rather sad and lost creature is being held, and very, very, very heavily sedated. And that's how we'll begin this scene. Jacob will kind of roll up in a sort of police uniform.
He's in a police uniform. Okay. All right. Making note of that.
Yeah.
I apologize. For some reason on my screen, it's saying that this hangout is still off air, so I apologize for missing that intro. Yeah, so the warehouse is pretty quiet. You have two kinfolk that are dressed in just everyday sweaters, jeans, baseball caps, but you can see both of their hands are sort of in the inner that inner pocket, that belly pocket, and there's definitely an odd shape in that belly pocket.
Unless there's some reason or protest to the process, I imagine 10 Point will be somewhat paranoidly already present wherever this thing is being kept, because she was given a very specific time limit and promised not to let anyone get hurt, so she'd be lurking.
Well, we're kind of over the time limit, so I'm just gonna let it go.
Okay.
Because it was scheduling issues. But anyway, so yeah, like I said, two kinfolk, basically look out, hands in the belly pocket. And yeah, it's pretty obvious. I'll give it to you. You've been on the force for long enough now. It's very obvious that these are guns. They are holding guns. And
he doesn't mind too much. Nah, they're fine.
How you suggest we keep the veil, huh? Mm-hmm. Anyway, but so they nod at 10 Point because 10 Point was there when they brought her in, and they just sort of look quizzically at you. He with you, ma'am?
And I suppose that means I should probably swap out real fast. Pew! Ah! Oh god, everything's terrible. But she'll give a bob of head and a faint wave of a hand. Yes, we're here to talk to our friend we left behind.
Right. It's cool, we clear off.
She gives a bob of head because that seems very wise, all told.
I know what you guys can get up to when you have some animated conversations. Don't want to be a part of that.
Much safer this way.
It seems another one of you showed up. All right. So me and my boys were clear to clear out.
You're good.
Right. Good luck.
Thank you. Have a pleasant day. And Jim will just look at some point. Anything additional you want to tell me before I begin questioning?
And I'm trying to think. 10 Point has made a point of getting him a copy of the paperwork.
I already went through that with him before.
Okay, sweet.
You know, like everything. You know, this person has been an experiment since about 6 months ago under Dr. Bajan. She has the code of 18F. Her name is Sarah. You know, height, weight, age, hair color, eye color. I mean, it's pretty complex. There are a couple of notes. This particular person has been noted. This is very specific. Just to remind everybody, this is the person that is the only noted experiment in these files to have achieved what is called quote unquote skittering form.
Okay.
Yep.
Noted.
And yeah, I can't think of anything we found out since all that needs sharing. So no, she'll give her head a light shake, but go ahead and lead him into where she's. Okay, yeah. So she'll lead her into, or lead him. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry.
Lead both of them because they're both there.
Yep, lead both of them further into the warehouse to where she knows that this chick has been heavily sedated. She will somewhat experimentally, if it is okay with you, Rob, we have said for ages that at least Balian had a set of, quote, good silver. 10 Point has periodically plundered a utensil from it here and there, wrapped up. May I assume that I have one with me?
Yes. Yes, you may.
I mean, it's a bitch for her to carry, but yeah. So she will, she'll be walking in, lead him to the room where this chick is so sedated. And among other things, we'll pull that in particular out of her pocket rather than her swag, because why would you do that? And we'll set it aside for the moment, and then we'll begin, of all the silly shit, producing a length of chain, probably from probably secured through Aiden from his garage, because there is no telling how big she can get or how strong she can get, and setting this likewise aside, nodding to her. And she can't read medical equipment, so she can't sit there and gauge how long it'll be until she wakes up if there's not one of the kin leaving to ask.
There is a kin standing by. Sort of mousy looking individual. He's not wearing a lab coat, but he's wearing like a tucked in flannel shirt with collar, jeans. He has a clipboard. He's waiting by the bed. She is passed out.
And he too will get a polite bob of head.
Ma'am?
You've come to talk to her. Do you know how soon she's likely to wake?
I can wake her up in just a few minutes.
Much appreciated.
And again, the bed is quite nice. It is medical bed. They've brought in a heart monitor, a heart monitor, breathing monitor, stuff like that. She has an IV plugged in, and he goes into a cabinet that's by the bed and pulls out a vial and a needle, takes off the needle head, puts it in the vial, draws it out, flicks it a couple of times, and puts it in the IV. Now, is it all right if I leave? I assume whatever's going to happen here will be taken care of.
Please do. Keep yourself safe.
And he leaves. And what are you guys doing for the few minutes that she's still asleep?
Making an offering gesture to these here heavy chains and whatnot.
Jacob will take a seat, and I suppose in the case of an absolute nightmare scenario, we'll trigger Luna's armor, just in case.
Go ahead and roll.
1 sec. I don't actually use my Critosol statistics this time because I don't have it up. Once in a blue moon. Hey, moon puns. That's Discord. Which dice roll again?
Indy, I don't know what you're doing, but I can hear all of it.
Oh, I'll just set us up in the dice roll.
Yep.
I didn't actually call the scene this because usually my scene names are either really good or absolutely horrible puns with 0 effort. So I'll just roll by. Let's see.
Just say scene start, basically. Yeah. Crab person interrogation.
Let's see. It's stamina plus survival, right? Yeah.
Let me double check. Should be.
Yeah. In which case, I'm rolling 4 dice because rainbow helps as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I got 5 successes.
Cool.
So Jacob will just make sure that's fine.
And while he is settled and waiting.
5 dice.
Oop.
Nope.
Oh, yeah, while he is settled and getting ready and waiting, 10 Point will at least give the reminder because she imagines that Jacob is not going to use a tactic even remotely similar to the one she or her packmates might choose. So she will remind him that at the time of her capture, when the chance was offered to simply submit and live, she did so. She doesn't seem especially eager to fight, though of course she probably can if she's desperate enough. And she will, if he is not showing any interest in the chains and stuff, decide not to leave that stuff out where it can be made into a weapon, and will get it well away from the table and
He's just observing
and
kind of casually commenting on stuff, making small talk.
10 Point does not seem especially small talky. She's a butt. You can small talk with Saoirse.
Saoirse's just kind of hanging out and watching this whole thing. She's not exactly sure what to do. She's just there.
Actually, 10 Point will potentially offer her the bundled up little piece of silver cutlery that she can't even fucking touch directly. It's probably wrapped up in several of the fabric napkins from home.
Okay. Yeah, she'll take those. She can
and explain simply, I don't know if she's sensitive to it, but we won't know if we don't check. And in a pinch, it might be necessary.
She'll nod, then she'll take them, then actually give a little smile, like, yeah.
Yeah.
This fucking pack.
Her eyes begin to flutter. They open. Where am I? What's going on?
I can't disclose that information right now. Just know that you're in a safe, secure location.
Who are you? Do you work for Dr. Bajan?
No.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
He said no.
Then who are you? Why am I here?
You're here because that man did something to you.
Really? I couldn't have guessed.
Don't ask a question then. Then there's no need to ask a question then. I'm here to question you on what you know. See if we can find the individual who did this to you. What can be found out about him, what can be done about him.
And what does it interest the cops to know that? Dr. Bajan was a medical professional. I'm sure you can find notes for his experiments other places.
The individuals he worked with aren't that sloppy.
He was a medical professional. Why are you questioning me?
Because we need to find him. And we need information what he was doing. Not just to you, but to others.
She's just gonna look around. She's gonna notice Saoirse and 10 Point. You.
I know who she's Ewing. Yes.
You're not with the cops, are you?
Well, he is.
You're not.
There's a mild shrug. No.
And anyone can get a uniform in this city.
I suppose you could not believe him if you wanted to.
I am a cop, but I'm not here on cop business.
Then what business are you here on? I have to leave. There are things after me.
Yeah, and you're here while we're keeping you safe from those things.
Are you? And again, she looks over at 10 Point.
And Point adopts a faint side tilt of head. You've not been harmed. Though she will actually dig in her swag, and of all the many silly things that Helena has a habit of doing, one of them is shoving random food into her swag to make sure 10 Point eats. So she'll fish around for a moment thoughtfully, and produce, of all things, a fucking hoagie. She doesn't know where Helena keeps getting this food, but she will produce it, kind of check it to make sure it's something that hasn't been in there a lot longer than she knew it existed. And when it seems fine, we'll actually approach the bed, offering it. Been asleep a very long time, but you've been safe, as we promised. It occurs to her that this woman has not had something to eat or drink in ages.
She looks at you. She looks at the hoagie. She looks at you. She looks at Jacob. She looks back to the hoagie.
There's nothing wrong with it. If we'd wanted to kill you, you wouldn't have woken up.
Oh, that's comforting. Thank you.
She shrugs because it seems like basic logic to her. Not reassuring. Meant to be reassuring. Not even remotely reassuring. All the same, she offers it within easy reach, but like doesn't heinously violate the personal space around the bed.
She looks around. She sees the IV. She looks at her wrist. She takes it off.
I'm going to wince because I know that's a terrible idea and hurts.
Yeah, Saoirse's gonna wince too because.
I suppose it wouldn't make any sense for you to drug this. You could have just drugged me while I was asleep.
Saoirse not.
Yes, so?
That's largely how you were kept asleep. What you are now is incredibly hard to sedate.
Again, Officer Obvious. Thank you.
A point of interest, when she does rip out the IV, does it start knitting?
It does.
Points brows. They raise the faintest bit, and there will be just a kind of an idle pinging sensation through the link to make sure Saoirse sees it as well. Because there aren't a ton of things that can knit in Hamid. But
Right.
she can!
Yeah, Saoirse sees it as I would imagine, especially with her acute vision, she can definitely notice that happened.
Yes, but give me a higher low.
Hi.
You typoed.
I did. Nope. You said hi, right?
I did.
Okay.
No.
That was very low. Oh my god. Uh-oh.
Usually it begins to knit. It knits. It knits very slowly, but it still knits.
The
Yeah,
sandwich is
so-
still being held out.
When she does hold it, or pull it out, Saoirse is the only one that can roll for this. Go ahead and roll me a perception alertness, difficulty 7.
Okay, so 5.
Even with your
that's with it. Okay, that's with
yeah.
my acute vision. Okay, cool. 1 success.
One success.
Yep.
You get it. You know how sometimes when you pull out gauze, right? Gauze normally has like blood or something.
Yeah.
There's a bluish tinge to the gauze, not red.
So Saoirse's going to share that information with 10 Point through the pack link.
Okay.
Because that's, yeah.
I mean, these things bleed blue. 10 Point just
Yep.
kind of accepts it when it's pointed out as a matter of course.
Yep, which, yeah.
Okay. She snatches the hoagie out of 10 Point's hand.
At a comical speed, it will be replaced by a water bottle. Or actually, probably a thermos, not a disposable bottle.
I mean, she's been hooked up to an IV. She's had water and nutrients. So
Yeah, 10 Point only has so much an understanding of modern medicine. She understands things like basic anatomy, but
she doesn't take the water bottle. She just takes the hoagie.
yeah, if she shows no interest in it, 10 Point will just shove it back in her bag and back up a couple steps to give her some fucking breathing room. In fact, we'll probably meander back to where she's slightly further away than Jacob is.
So where do you want?
Lucy, I'm trying to remember what I was talking with Katie earlier about what we want.
One moment.
Can you remind me?
Yes. Basically, the goal is to. I mean, at this point, she seems like she may not be fully aware. She might be fully aware. Either way, we know that she has some primal urge, so she can sense when there's something off about us. The big goal is to find out where Bijan is doing his testing, where they might be being held, how much free range they've been given, what this new form is, if she's been given, like, tasked with missions and stuff. Basically, we're trying to find out as much as we can because we have some base information, but we don't even have enough to, like, go raiding a particular place. We know that we've seen her on Coney Island. We know that she managed to get away from some Rokea, and that she is potentially capable of creating more of her. Can't have that shit. So yeah, all in all, we need to know where they are. We need to know how much she knows. We could learn something about what they believe is being done to them, etc., etc., etc. But we do desperately need to find Dr. Bijan, his lab, and if there's a separate holding place where he is holding them.
Okay. In which case, Jacob will simply say, "Oh, a lot of things really we're looking to find out, but I guess let's start from the ground up. How much do you know about yourself and your new state of being? Because we know some things, but we don't know how much you know."
You mean you know about? I suppose you would. I signed up for a medical trial.
Okay.
It was advertised as something that would a test increasing immunity, age extension, and strengthening of the body. I met with Dr. Bijan. He interviewed me.
Can you say where?
Where he interviewed me?
And what the medical trial in particular was, if it had any name.
The medical trial started off at home.
Okay.
We would meet at his offices once a week. And he would test us. Basic stress tests, running, lifting weights, exercising, swimming. And each time it would be in a different facility.
Okay.
He said he was doing this to keep his information away from others who would use it for ill intent. So we didn't question him.
I'm really sorry. I need to be real quick. I'll be back in 1 minute.
Should we be doing the intermission song? Well, let's go out to the movies. Let's go out to the movies.
Trying to distract myself because I can smell the lamb in the kitchen.
Try not to drool on the keyboard. That might mess with your ability to participate, sir.
I did one of those things where I forgot to eat all day.
Oh no.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
It's cool. All right. So yeah, she says each time we went to a different facility. And it was weird. Sometimes it was with people that I knew, well, I had already met as part of the study. Sometimes it was with different individuals. It was never the same people twice. And it was only about a handful of us.
Said you knew some of them. Did you know any names?
What was that?
Said you knew some of them. Do you have their names?
No, we weren't allowed. No, we weren't allowed to interact. I just knew their faces. Of course, we could talk, but we weren't allowed share our names. We weren't allowed to share who we were. It was supposed to. It was supposed to foster anonymity for the study, to make sure none of the information was forged.
I see. Let's fast forward a little bit. Do you remember how you came to be for where you are now?
Yes.
I know that's almost certainly not an easy thing to talk about, but could you do so? We'd appreciate it a great deal.
Do I have a choice?
Jacob kind of actually seriously considers this for a moment. In theory, but I'd be very dishonest if I were to say that.
Who are you people? If you're not working for the cops, why are you interested?
Because the people that did this to you are extremely dangerous and need to be taken down. And they exist outside the system of which we can bring them to justice.
So, what is it? Some sort of CIA, Department of Defense? What have I gotten myself into?
Jacob just kind of looks to the two Fiona and is just like, could just make it obvious if you want.
If I recall right, wasn't John in Krynos when he restrained her?
Yes, he was.
Okay. So should just glance aside and to clarify for Jacob's sake, we'll remind him. She's seen John in his natural shape.
All right. Okay. Considering Jacob, actually, wait a second. No, I'm pretty sure this wouldn't be a veil breach because she's very much in on the gig and is a shapeshifter herself at this point, even if she is a crown person.
And she's seen other ones of us before, so
Yeah, that ship has sailed.
yeah.
I'm normally a bit more rash about this, but I'm a Philodox now and I can't do that. I have to be
You're
stopped.
Philodox now? You've always been a Philodox.
Side eye. Okay, Jacob was more rash about this once. Yeah, in which case Jacob will just make it very obvious and we'll just say, okay, let me put this very bluntly then. I'm a werewolf.
She bursts out laughing.
I'm gonna shift.
I was gonna say, would you like me to, since it's just reverting?
Oh yeah, you just do it.
Yeah, she just has to relax, so it's not an effort for her to shift.
And all things considered, when he flat says, I'm a werewolf, 10 Point glances aside, waiting for the gesture, because she's accustomed to being the first one to have to do it.
Yeah, Jacob just gesture to you then.
And yeah.
Kind of a go-ahead fashion.
10 Point will glance aside. And, shrug. And
you shrug into
and begin
Metis.
slowly, and she will make sure that the chick has at least flicked her eyes the appropriate way, and will slowly just revert to breed. Sans antlers at the moment because she had to get to the warehouse, and she doesn't make an advance or anything. She just kind of swells up into her breed form with a certain I guess it's not a slow process at all. She just
it's still a very slow and painful process.
Oh, interesting.
It is shapeshifting is painful. Everybody.
Yep.
That's fine. Atonement, delicious. And never.
She looks at you. She stops laughing almost immediately. Her eyes go wide. And she throws the rest of the sandwich at you and goes, Jesus, fuck!
10 Point looks at this poor, violated sandwich that is now on the floor. What did it ever do to deserve this?
Jacob will pick it up and put it on the side. Jacob, he'll simply say, that was largely my reaction when I found out about all this.
You're one of those things that chased me down. You killed Philip.
Jacob will look to to Fiona as looking for them to either confirm or deny this, as he has no idea who the fuck Philip is.
Again, this is one of those things that would have been filled in, that when they retrieved her, she was with another of her kind of people, and that one was slaughtered almost immediately, and she was captured. Admittedly, she looks nothing like John did in Krynos, because John looked horrifying in Krynos, but to each their own.
She looks a lot healthier. She's got fur and shit.
Okay. And
but yeah, she remains just kind of hunkered there. She doesn't have any expression of denial or regret on her big wolfy face.
There's like bits of lettuce in your hair.
She does a jarringly normal thing and does like the doggo head shake to whip the lettuce out of her ruff and mane. Just like blah, blah, blah.
She is now fully she is fully sort of retracted into the first part of the bed, the part of the bed that is farthest away from you, with her knees to her chest.
I'm sorry about Philip. He was probably taken as an enemy.
Taken as an enemy? All we were doing was walking down the street. Well, down the beach, but still.
Long story. Oh, go ahead.
Tisha will look at her and she'll say, I'm very sorry about that. At the time, because we had been attacked by those of you, we had considered all of you as hostile.
But were you attacked? Did I attack you? Did Philip attack you?
We were fighting a war.
Oh, so I suppose that makes it perfectly okay, doesn't it?
It's not okay. It's just a fact. It's a generalization that we made to protect us and our kind.
Right.
Usually creatures like you and other things not like you, but on the side, creatures like you are normally used for.
Creatures.
You're not... I call it a big pond. It's more of a very vast ocean of big bads out there that we have to deal with on a very regular basis.
So instead of saying, hey, you guys, are you a threat? And assessing it, you went ahead and cut his head off.
The threat was assessed when your kind attacked us. We had no idea that you were victims at the time.
The threat was also, and 10 Point will ping the reminder to Saoirse that they were actually given warning by the Rokea in a very unusual fashion that these things were coming out of the water and a threat to the Sept, an immediate threat.
And others had warned us about you, your kind.
We were warned. We were put on alert that your kind was coming up out of the water and attacking. So...
Attacking? You mean trying to find a warm place to sleep? Because that's what Philip and I were doing at the time.
That might be what you were doing, but that's not what others were doing.
You're an exception to the rule, and your kind are literally being used as shock troops to kill us.
Tisha nods at that fact.
How many people have you lost to this?
Jacob considers this for... I think he would know, wouldn't he? If 10 Point's been filling him in on shit.
Yep. We have not lost any Guru as of yet, I don't think. However, there was an attack made on the Rokea, and we have no idea if they lost people.
Well, didn't Jason lose... out of character, didn't Jason lose his husband to this?
Oh, well, sort of, technically.
Sort of.
In
Absolutely, but in the fact that he was made to be one of them rather than being killed by them.
Yes, it was not a successful experiment and thus was eliminated.
But he still counts, and Jacob will count him because...
I want to count him because he's my fucking pack mate. So yeah, count him, please.
One so far. We're pretty hard to kill. The person that did lose her life was much more fragile than the rest of us. They weren't a werewolf like us.
I'm sorry for your loss. See how easy that was?
No, why should I have a right to say that we killed him?
So what? I'm a part of this war now? Is that how that works? I go to do something to better my life, to better where I am, and I get entrenched in this
You're preaching to the choir here. I've been involved in this for just less than 2 years. I had absolutely no idea any of this was even a thing until I changed in the middle of a corner shop and ended up killing 3 people in a blind rage.
And because you did that, it gives you the right to assess threat levels of people walking down the beach.
Unfortunately, as a matter of fact, it does.
I mean, I don't have the right to kill whoever I please.
We have laws and ways of doing things.
But
Really?
it's
Really?
not as simple as you don't know it, but to an extent you literally poisoned the earth you're walking on.
What?
And it is hard to manage human speak in Krynos, but a word at a time. So 10 Point will very carefully take a moment to growl out chemicals and lift a big paw, kind of pointing at her. And then was the hypodermic needle from earlier disposed of properly? Or has it been left somewhere where it can be pointed at?
It was disposed of.
Okay. And after another pause to take a moment to form her mouth properly, we'll say, from tests.
That is, I can only estimate part of the intent of your creation as this entity that you are now. The people who made you what you are want to literally corrupt and destroy the planet. And they tried to turn you, they turned you into a monster to do that. A lot of the time, this can be this poison, for lack of a better term. I'm just trying to put it in terms you understand, can be cleaned off of most people fairly simply. I don't know if we can do that with you.
Have you tried?
That's one of the reasons I came here. I was going to attempt it. It will look and feel very weird. There is a possibility that it might be very painful. There was a sort of creature we tried to do this to before, and it didn't end up purifying them. It just ended up hurting them.
Great.
Most of the time it doesn't work like that. That's for things that have been effectively irrevocably tainted that we can't just fix.
So, what happens if you can't fix me?
Well, to be honest, purification and healing isn't really my area of expertise. There are other ways. It's difficult, to say the least. To be honest, to put it completely truthfully to you, most of the time with these things, we just kill them.
No, I got that.
I would like to find a way where we don't have to do that, particularly to you, or to any of the rest of, well, yous that we find.
Any of the other experiments, you can go ahead and say it.
Needless to say,
thought I was helping people.
I'd prefer not to kill innocent victims. It's not something I do. It's not something I want to make a habit of doing ever.
Why didn't you decide to do this?
To be honest, I was going to ask you some questions and then we were going to do it at the end, but we've kind of gotten a bit off topic with that.
What other questions?
Right, we got off topic where I said I was a werewolf, right? So I was asking basically what happened, what happened during the day you became what you were? Where were you? What were people doing? What was happening? Just go through the day.
I was chained for my safety to a sort of box.
Okay.
So I could stand upright and move around a little bit.
You know where this was?
No. It was some warehouse that we were met. I was told to give myself 2 days. I got there and I was drugged. I was put to sleep. I woke up. Oh, hold on.
I should have really rolled Truth of Garth for this entire conversation.
I'm just saying, you can roll it at any time.
I need to know what I need to know what manipulation subterfuge is, because that's a diff. Hopefully it's garbage.
All right. Dinner is ready, but I've been given a couple of minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna roll Truth of Garth for this entire conversation.
So she says, I was chained to a box for my safety. And Dr. Bajan injected this weird sort of blue liquid into my arm. It sparked in the needle.
Did you say sparked?
Yep.
No, there's little other gesture, but 10 points ears. Prick up.
And it felt like my body was melting. But it wasn't painful. It just sort of... I felt myself grow. And I don't remember much, but I remember waking up in a bed, and my arms and legs strapped to the bed. I look over, and they're putting this person in a body bag. Bit by bit. And so I knew that I needed to leave. This was dangerous. There was another subject there. He was right next to me. He was strapped in like I was. They left us alone for the night. And he said that he'd been in the army. That he could get us out of this situation. And that I could go with him, or we could go our own separate ways. I chose to run. I had family to get back to. I don't remember exactly how we got out, but he took down another person. He had to take a needle, and it had to do with his eye, and it was just, it wasn't good. But I ran.
Did he have
And-
any? Oh, sorry, no, he wouldn't. He wouldn't interrupt.
No, go ahead.
He would just ask as she was running if she had any idea where she was or where she was when she got out.
I knew I was by the Hudson. I knew that I needed to get home, and I ran for home, but when I got there, it took me 2 days to get home. Have you ever slept behind a dumpster? It's not fun. I got home, but my parents, my family, they were having a funeral. They thought I was dead. They thought it was a cruel joke that somebody who was homeless would come to them on their saddest day and say that they were actually their daughter.
I'm sorry.
So I ran, and something was very wrong. I couldn't drink normal water.
What do you mean?
It hurt. So in desperation, I ran. I ran into the Hudson.
You can drink in the Hudson?
Yes. I can no longer drink fresh water. So I guess that's right. I was made to poison the earth. Congratulations. Weeks of being hunted, trying to get food. All because I needed a few $1,000s.
For the first time in all this, there is actually now a hint of sympathy on Saoirse's face for her.
So you're gonna try that thing that's either gonna heal me or hurt me?
Yeah. There is one last thing I'd like to ask. We recovered some files.
Yeah.
About these tests. It said you stick out for some reason. You can take on a second form. What you just saw Standpoint do, you just kind of, well, has his like thumb out pointing towards Standpoint. She entered obviously a form that's halfway between a person and a wolf. It's what we call a war form. It's what we usually fight in. Most of your kind can do that, but it says you can take on an additional form that in the files is called skittering.
I have no idea.
By the way,
All
Truth
right.
of God, all of this, just in case she's lying in any way.
Did you roll for Truth of Gaia?
Yeah, I rolled it. I got a 5, a 2, a 10, a 5, a 3, and a 2. So I got at least one success because I got a 10.
Let me go for Truth of Gaia real quick.
I want me to roll again?
Yeah, because I didn't hear you say you were rolling for Truth of Gaia.
He said it
I
as soon as
didn't
you came
roll.
back to the computer.
I'll roll again. I got a 10, a 4, a 1, a 5, a 9, and a 4. Which I assume is still a success unless she is an incredibly manipulative bitch.
Hold on.
Yeah, I get one success, presumably.
Mm-hmm. She hasn't said a false word yet.
Okay. You said you were near the Hudson, and it took you 2 days to get home. Do you have any idea where that was?
Where my home is?
No, when you said you were near the Hudson when you got out. Do you have any idea where that might have been?
Some sort of shipyard. It was by this awful smelling warehouse. You ever been to a cannery for like tuna?
once or twice here.
Yeah, it smelled like that. I was more preoccupied with getting home and getting safe. She just sort of weakly smiles. Anything?
He'll just, I guess, just not press her, but like just ask her if that was like, if she could recognize it as like, if it looked like mainland or Manhattan or.
No, she just says by the docks.
Okay.
By the Hudson. There was a canning situation nearby.
Okay. Where's your home, if you don't mind me asking, or where you used to live?
Williamsburg.
Sorry, if I could just get a spelling for that. Sorry, it was Williamsburg, or? Sorry, was it Williamsburg? I didn't quite hear.
Yes, was Williamsburg.
That's cool. Okay. I kept you waiting long enough, so I'll try and do that thing now, and hopefully, if we're lucky, it will work. Not, and we're gonna have to try for some different solutions, but I don't know how far I'm gonna be able to go with that.
Do what you have to.
Okay. So Jacob actually has a dedicated twig for this purpose. He does have it.
Here's a
Twigger.
question for you. Can we co-op it to try to get a stronger result?
You can try.
10 Point will
Fuck.
turn a glance to Saoirse and in High Tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a lot easier. Just basically be like, tell her to brace herself. And we'll likewise begin producing a cleansing kit to see if they can
Yeah,
handle
so
this.
Saoirse will say, okay, you need to brace yourself. If you need, you can hold on to me.
It'll be fine. And she takes the thin blanket. She puts it in her mouth. I've dealt with this before.
She nods. She nods, but she stays very close to her, just in case she does need support.
And charisma rituals, which thankfully is not changed by form.
I fucking suck.
You do.
Unfortunately, I got
Wow.
a success, so it's not a botch.
Huh?
I got
You got
9.
what?
He's got a 9,
yeah.
so in theory he
Yeah.
has one success,
Not
so
a
it's not a
botch.
botch.
Yeah, fortunate.
May I spend willpower?
Yes.
She will at least make the conscious effort to make this as simple as possible.
Unlike
And that is 2 10s and the willpower success, assuming that a 9 is enough to be canceled out by the
She
1.
immediately lets out a howl of unrestrained pain.
And if you would like, I can make this an extended roll.
Go ahead if you want to extend the roll.
I mean, in the end, it's either going to kill her or cleanse her. Even a 5% chance is better than being murdered.
Well, no, it doesn't kill. Rite of cleansing cannot kill.
just causes intense pain.
Just causes intense pain.
Now that is fine. 10 Point has no soul when it comes to humans, so or these things. So extending the roll. What is the diff for this, by the way? I assume she is heinously tainted. I have no idea how difficult it is to attack it, or if it's even easier because there's just so much to hit.
It's just basically when it causes pain, it's just impossible. So it's not even a diff that you have to hit.
Okay.
So
if nothing else,
just
considering
every
that
time it's like every time you do it is like 10 minutes, and it's causing her extreme pain.
all right. I will just say, like, unless you want me to keep rolling for it, she'll essentially do this until the poor chick like passes out from the pain.
She will pass out.
At which point she will hit her with a sense worm to see if it has lessened the effect at all. And I assume I know the answer, but she will at least do the due diligence.
Yeah, same.
Go ahead and roll it.
Uh-huh. We've both rolled it.
Okay. There's still immediate worm taint.
It has
is
it's like the bloom of it
absolutely
lessened
there.
at all.
Go ahead and both of you give me a
I can also do warm lore if you like.
wits primal urge.
Ooh. Oh wow, that's 6 successes. I have cool-headed specialty for my wits, if that applies. But yeah, 6 successes.
And I assume 3 successes.
It's not less, but it's almost like, I'm trying to think. It's not less, but it's not as intense as before.
Is it for the sake of drawing a conclusion, something that was like, say, from Pangea and of the original worm would still show as, quote, worm tainted? Is this it shifting from the current like corrupted worm to the worm is there, but it is not the corrupted worm?
You're not
Essentially.
sure. There seems to have been an odd switch, but you're not entirely sure.
I will say that unless Jacob waves her off, Tim Point is at this point somewhat interested because the tone of it has changed. Is there still any of the original kind of tinge, or has it completely shifted to a weird, there's definitely worm taint, but it's off and different?
Yes. This is different worm taint than your average BSD, your Bane or something like this. Is different worm taint.
Yeah, she'll actually take some keen interest and come over and snuffle at her and kind of investigate, but
She's
look to
bleeding
Jacob.
from the eyes and the ears.
Oh, okay. She needs.
That's fine.
I'll probably call in the kinfolk to give her a look over. If I mean.
Well, I mean, it's not a lot of bleeding. It's just
Okay.
trickling down. So,
And
we don't want her completely. Just both for my caregiver demeanor and the fact that practical reasons.
Raya, she may be best off in the hands of the Glasswalkers. If you intend to keep her alive, she is still tainted.
I
noticed.
agree with that.
It's a little bit different. Something strange here. But you're right.
sorry, I don't want to get yelled at again.
It's fine. We can end the scene there
we
if
can
you-
resolve little deets afterwards.
All
At the
right.
I think
So,
the interrogation over, and I'm now discussing the nature of this person's worm taint. We can end the scene there. Is that okay?
all right. Thank you, players, for playing. Watchers for watching. This has been another scene for Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.
Thank you.